Welcome to Business Spotlight on Money Radio WPSE. Business Spotlight is heard weekly, this time on 1450 AM and 107.1 FM. Today's guest is Scott Frederick, Vice President of Marketing at Logistics Plus. Scott, thanks again for joining us. What is your role with Logistics Plus?
I'm the Vice President of Marketing with Logistics Plus, and I've been with Logistics Plus for 4 years. I have 22 years of experience working on the asset-based truckload or trucking side of things, and I've been with companies such as USF Holland and YRC Worldwide, and I've been working on the third-party logistics side of things now for the past 7 years. As is pretty typical here at Logistics Plus, one's title doesn't necessarily indicate all that one does. And almost everyone here wears multiple hats as part of their day-to-day responsibilities. So my areas of focus are marketing management, business development, and I also manage our less than truckload, or LTL for short, carrier relations.
How do you approach the marketing and business side of things at Logistics Plus?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've had the opportunity to give a number of logistics and marketing presentations to students at Penn State Barron as part of our partnership with that university. And I give a marketing presentation I call Marketing Without a Plan. And that's really a nod to our owner and CEO, Jim Berlin, and his unique approach to the culture he's created here at Logistics Plus. We're very flat, we're lean, and we're not very big on business plans, as you have kind of picked up on from the previous interviews you've done with us here. So really, our only plan as a company is to grow, and beyond that, we really have a lot of freedom to be entrepreneurial in our approach for achieving that growth. So as it pertains to marketing and business development, I really have 3 goals for the company. Number 1 is to build the brand. Number 2 is to create opportunities for the company. And number 3 is to develop the business. One thing that's pretty unique about Logistics Plus is that we don't really have much of a sales team. We've got one local sales manager, we have one global sales executive, but not much else really. And prior to my arrival here 4 years ago, the company did very little marketing. So historically, the company has grown virtually by word of mouth and by referrals and recommendations, which have been a big part of our growth. We now do a fair amount of what I call inbound marketing to kind of make up for that. So by that I mean we use a combination of PR, marketing content, and strategic partnerships to generate interest in our services so that we can bring prospective customers to us as opposed to us having to go out and find them.
Wearing as many hats as you do for Logistics Plus, how does that make you more efficient as a company?
Well, I think there's benefits in different ways. I think, number 1, it forces individuals to be multi-capable, to learn different aspects of the business and add more value to the company and add more value to the relationships we have with our customers. It also keeps us lean and on our feet, and, having, in my career, worked for a lot of big organizations, big public companies, you can tend to kind of create layers and bureaucratic structures, and of course by having that kind of lean approach where people are wearing a lot of different hats at our company, it just kind of keeps us grounded, keeps us flat, keeps us nimble, and really allows us to plug people in and out of different roles to get the job done.
Scott, not many companies operate without a sales force like Logistics Plus does. Is that an anomaly?
Probably not. I mean, I think it's unique, certainly for a company our size, I'd say, a company approaching 200 million in global sales, and to not really have any kind of sales force. I don't know enough about all the competition out there to know that if anyone else is kind of doing the same thing we are, but certainly in my experience in the industry, I haven't seen anything like it.
How has inbound marketing strategy been working for Logistics Plus?
Well, I'd say based on our growth, pretty well. The thing about inbound marketing is that it is a long game. It's not a short game. You really have to have a lot of discipline with it. And for us, a lot of that evolves around generating content for our logisticsplus.net website. When I joined the company in late 2014, we had about 2,000 visitors and 1 inquiry per month from the website. In 2015, we launched a new, richer website, and we began placing a stronger focus on content and SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. And that's so that folks searching on the web for the services that we offer can find us more readily. So today, we have over 50,000 visitors to our website per month, and we receive over 15 inquiries per day from prospective customers. So again, going from 1 per month to 15 per day, basically over a 3.5-year time period. In fact, our largest customer today found us through our website 2.5 years ago, and then they did a search, they found us, did a little research, connected with one of our people, and we kind of cultivated it, and next thing we know, 2.5 years later, they're our largest customer. So pretty fantastic.
Scott, digital technology has been a big focus for Logistics Plus. I would imagine that moving forward, that is only going to get bigger, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, as they call it, the Internet of Things is certainly driving a lot of different ways of doing business today, and logistics is no different. Marketing is no different. So we continue to leverage all the digital technology that we can to again, create that sort of sense of inbound marketing where people can kind of learn about our company and find us on the web and then hopefully ask us about our services and ultimately become a customer. But even beyond just the inbound marketing side of things, we also work hard to form strategic partnerships that create new opportunities for the company as well. A couple years ago, I reached out to Amazon, and we became one of their first third-party logistics providers as part of their Solutions Provider Network, which is a program they offer to Amazon global sellers. So we were one of the first logistics companies in that program. 3 years ago, I strengthened our connection with the Manufacturing Business Association by creating and managing a new logistics program, which we offer to its 4,000 plus members across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York. And so that's been pretty successful for us. Last year, we also connected with Multi-Channel Merchant, which is a kind of a resource in the e-commerce industry, so that we could become one of their top 3PLs for e-commerce companies looking for warehousing and fulfillment solutions. And so these are all just examples of things that we're doing to build the brand, create opportunities, and develop the business.
Logistics Plus has experienced tremendous growth over the past couple of years, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're actually projecting global revenues, as I said earlier, to be around $200 million by the end of this year. And at that pace, the company will essentially have doubled both in terms of employee count and in terms of revenue over the past 2-year time period. So pretty phenomenal to basically, double the company in a 2-year time frame. It really has been pretty amazing. And what's even more incredible is that as we look at some of the opportunities in our pipeline, I just see this thing continuing to grow in the foreseeable future, which is pretty cool. Also, earlier this year, as worth mentioning, we were also named to the Inc. 5000 list as one of the fastest growing private companies in the United States. It was the 4th time that the company has been on the list by virtue of our compounded annual growth. This time around, we had a CAGR, compounded annual growth, of 68% over the last 3-year time period. And so we were the number two fastest growing company among businesses based in Erie, Pennsylvania that were on the list. And we were ranked number 17th in the country among all transportation and logistics companies with revenues greater than $100 million. So pretty cool to be on that list.
One of the things that amazes me is Logistics Plus really operates without goals and projections, and you are experiencing growth like no other. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's so much a philosophy, or, maybe we're just lucky. I don't know. I mean, I know Jim Berlin, when he gives presentations, he likes to, to tell people that, hey, don't try this at home. It may not work for you. But again, it works for Logistics Plus, and I think it's really led to a lot of successes.
What factors have contributed to the company's phenomenal growth recently?
Yeah, well, I'd like to think it's great marketing, of course. But the truth is, word of mouth and strong connections still play a big part of our growth. The connections our employees have with their friends and relatives that work for other companies that need logistics services, as well as our current customers that have colleagues at other companies, or maybe they move to a new company and they want to take us with them. These are all still, big factors in our growth as a company. You also have to be able to provide a great service in order to get those referrals and recommendations. So great world-class service, I guess, is really the key to it all at the end of the day. So we provide that great service, and when you do, you get those referrals and recommendations. And as a marketing professional, it also makes for a great company to promote and market to the marketplace as well.
It all goes back to the quality of the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've got some fantastic people here that work for the company, and Jim is pretty selective in his hiring. I think we brought on at least 40 new people year to date already just here in Erie, and Jim was single-handedly involved in every one of those interview processes. So he really does take an interest in maintaining the culture of the company, making sure we have that lean structure, that hard work ethic, and that as we call it, passion for excellence in everything we do, and it translates to great service. And again, the backbone is definitely good people.
Scott, you also said you manage the less than truckload segment of Logistics Plus. Can you tell me a little bit more about that service?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, the other half of my responsibility is to manage all the LTL carrier relationships that we have as a company, and to help grow that business segment of our business, or that segment of our business. So LTL stands for less than truckload, and companies generally use this type of service when they need to ship a pallet or a drum or some sort of shipment that would take up only part of a freight truck. And LTL shipment is basically going to be anywhere from 200 to 5,000 pounds. So in the LTL segment, there are basically 25 national carriers or North American carriers that comprise about 90% of the marketplace. We have contracts with almost all of them, and so I negotiate those contracts. I work with those carriers on client-specific opportunities outside of those contracts, and then I administer all that through our proprietary eShip Plus transportation management system, or TMS as it's called in the industry. So one interesting thing about LTL is our owner, Jim Berlin, came from the LTL industry, as did our company president, Fred Rizzuto, and so did I, basically, for 22 years as well. So even though LTL is a much smaller segment of our business today than it was 22 years ago, we still manage over 70,000 LTL shipments per year with a spend close to $20 million annually. So it's still a very important part of our business.
Even though LTL isn't where it used to be, do you think it could return to being a larger part of the business?
No, I think it's more a factor of just over the years, the company has diversified and created new capabilities. So, whereas LTL maybe was kind of the foundation of our service offering day one, it quickly, we quickly gained capabilities and expertise to do a lot of other things. So, today we do pretty much everything in the logistics space. So, less than truckload, full truckload, air, ocean, international, warehousing, fulfillment, we kind of do it all now. So and that's kind of one of our value propositions is, there's really not much we can't do. And a lot of that comes from Jim's philosophy, as of, hey, just say yes and we'll figure out how to do it down the road or behind the scenes. And so that's really how a lot of our capabilities have come to fruition. And it's really why we're kind of successful and, why we have so much to offer today.
Do you think a big factor in LP's growth is saying yes and figuring out how to make things work on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing, and it's kind of fun and exciting, when you've got an owner and CEO that says just say yes, and we'll figure it out. can be daunting at times, particularly when you go into a space that you're not comfortable with, or a service that you don't know a lot about, but it kind of forces you to learn more about it and find people that do know how to do that kind of thing, and either add them to the team or pick their brain and kind of develop that expertise. So kind of funny, we just had a opportunity come to us, a very huge lawn and home kind of what do I say, they make home improvement manufacturer that makes things like chainsaws and all that kind of home improvement kind of stuff, yard maintenance type stuff, I guess. And they weren't looking for any traditional transportation and logistics services, but they did want a company to manage their claims process. So anytime they had a shipment that would be damaged in transit, they needed a third party to kind of help manage that claim filing process, to make sure that they get reimbursed properly from the carriers that goofed up and might have damaged that shipment. And when they first came to us, it was literally the first time that I said no to a prospective customer, that hey, it's just something we don't do and not anything frankly we want to get into on a large scale like that. Well, Jim of course got word of that, and he says, Scott, this is a big potential client, let's figure it out. So we went back to the drawing board, and actually last week we made a strong pitch to this prospective customer to actually manage their entire claims process, which they have 600 a year that they need somebody to help them manage. And we think we've got a really good shot at it. Whether we get it or not, I don't know. But again, just another example of this company saying yes to pretty much anything and then trying to figure out how to do it and do it right.
Why do your customers choose LTL services with Logistics Plus over other providers?
I'd say there's a few good reasons. Number one, we have pretty decent rates that we've been able to negotiate and maintain over the years with some of the top LTL carriers in the industry. Secondly, it's that customer service I talked about. We have an operations team that's very tenacious when it comes to supporting our customers. All of our support people have laptops and cell phones, and we provide 24/7, 365 support for everything from quoting to pickups to tracking deliveries. We also provide freight bill auditing and consolidation services. And then we also provide our customers with a very easy-to-use online TMS, which they can use to get instant quotes, track shipments, and do other things as well.
Can you tell me a little bit more about eShip Plus?
Yeah, so eShip Plus is our proprietary North American TMS. Our customers get complimentary access to eShip Plus when they ship with us. And the system basically provides them with the ability to get instant LTL freight quotes with some of the top carriers in the industry, such as Estes Express, FedEx Freight, UPS Freight, YRC Freight, Ward Trucking, pretty much any of the major carriers in the LTL space. They can get standard and guaranteed delivery options. They can request truckload and expedited options. They can create their own bills of lading, print labels for their shipments. They can schedule shipments online. They can view consolidated LTL and truckload shipment tracking information, and they can even view dashboards and run reports of their shipping activity. So it's a pretty cool tool, and I think it really does add a lot of value to that segment of service for us.
Looking at the broader company, are there any new initiatives in the works?
Well, while all of our business segments really are doing quite well right now, I'd say we do have a strong focus in a couple new areas. One is growing our warehousing and e-commerce fulfillment segment. You may recall we purchased a fulfillment company in November of last year, and we now have fully developed pick, pack, and ship fulfillment capabilities in New York, Texas, and Southern California. And so e-commerce and that whole omni-channel fulfillment concept is really something a lot of businesses are kind of going for right now, so they can reach their consumers through all these different selling channels. And we're really in a good position to help them out now. Another area of focus for us is growing and developing our FF&E business segment, which stands for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. We have a couple very large clients in that space for whom we manage their entire supply chain. I know last month you spoke with Frank Knaffels, who set up a lot of the infrastructure needed to support that vertical. So I think you'll be seeing and hearing a lot more of us operating in that space as well.
Scott, Logistics Plus is a well-regarded company within the logistics industry. Any recent awards or recognition worth mentioning?
Yeah, so we've received a few bits of recognition this year. I think I already mentioned the Inc. 5000 recognition. Also, earlier this year, we were recognized as a great workplace by the independent analysts that are at this Great Place to Work certification organization. So that was pretty cool to get that recognition, and that actually comes out from employee surveys of the company. So it was our employees that basically, said we were a great place to work. Also this summer, Transport Topics magazine named us to 3 of their top lists within the industry. We made the top freight brokerage firm list, we made the top warehousing firm list, and we made the top dedicated contract carrier list. And I think that's it for recognition so far this year, but you never know, we might get another 1 or 2 before the year end.
When it comes to revenue objectives and awards, is the belief at Logistics Plus that if you do your job, everything will fall into place?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not out just to get awards and recognition, but certainly from a marketing standpoint, those help our effort, right? So they kind of create that awareness of our company, and they demonstrate the quality of our services. So that, again, back to the inbound marketing philosophy, that really kind of gets people's attention and kind of brings them to us, and they start asking, hey, can you do that for us as well? And so in that sense, the awards and recognition, again, do play a really important role in kind of our overall strategy. Again, not anything that we specifically target, but as those awards come online, they certainly help us, that's for sure.
All right, Scott, wearing your marketing hat, what would you say are the key selling points for working at Logistics Plus?
Yeah, I'd say what sets us apart, from the competition is that, we're big enough to have the resources, the people, and the expertise to do just about anything a company needs to do in the logistics space. Again, from domestic transportation to international freight forwarding, warehousing and fulfillment, dedicated supply management, we can really do it all. But we also have this very unique culture of being flat and nimble and very personal in our approach. So again, all of our key executives are very accessible to any customer, large or small, including Jim, our owner and CEO, who tends to get involved in a lot of new opportunities as well. So I think a lot of prospective customers think that's pretty cool that our CEO is so involved like that. We in fact, as an example, as far as a new customer we just brought on board, it was a small distributor of exercise equipment that approached us about a complete logistics solution. They import maybe 6 containers a year from China. They needed some warehousing and storage on the West Coast. They also needed help with domestic freight deliveries to their customers, which are basically health clubs as well as consumers across the United States. And we can do all that now with all of our capabilities. But this particular client, for some 3PLs might be considered small potatoes. I mean, they do a little bit of everything, but not a lot of everything. But for us, we made this customer feel very much like they were special, and that they were important to us. And in the end, they decided to choose us for a long-term logistics partnership, which I think is pretty cool.
All right, Scott, last question. I know we've covered a lot of different topics today. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I think if I had to summarize, again, Logistics Plus, we pretty much work with some of the largest companies in the world. We also work with some of the smallest companies in Erie, Pennsylvania, and frankly, everything in between. So, what sets us apart, again, is that we really treat them all equally important. As you know, our slogan is passion for excellence, and it really is part of the culture and an important reason why this company's been so successful, and I think why this company is going to continue to be successful going forward.
Thanks for listening to Business Spotlight on Money Radio WPSE. Business Spotlight is heard Fridays at noon.